is an Unspoiled Network podcast.
This is Unspoiled, covering Doctor Who, Season 3, Episode 12, Utopia. In this episode... I was right, bitches.
I knew you were going to gloat.
I was fucking right, bitches. Gloat? Me? Yes. Welcome to Unspoiled. Welcome to the show, everybody. I am Natasha.
Hi, I'm Jamie.
So,
Surprise!
everybody, I want my prize. What is it? What do I get for being right? What do I get? Give it to me. Give me my immortality. I want TARDIS eternal life.
Did you expect to ever see Jack again?
I did. I figured he would come back eventually. I sure didn't expect him to be immortal when he came back, though. So that's fun. But yeah, I figured because of him being such a beloved character and popping up so much, that he had not just been in like 2 or 3 episodes. Although that's not out of the question to have that happen.
Yeah.
It was just, there's just a sort of vibe that you get when a fandom behaves a certain way that you figure this person is going to reappear or be a recurring thing or what have you. But yeah, I didn't expect him to show up now in particular. Like, I figured he'd reappear at some point, but I didn't have any guesses as to when. Mm-hmm. And I didn't expect him to, like, not be able to die, which is, that's certainly a thing.
Yep.
So, good for you, but also, is it? It's the question.
I guess it remains to be seen.
Yeah. But yeah, this whole episode is just, it's a weird one. Mm-hmm. You know, I liked it a lot, actually, but it was very sort of, there was a lot happening. This is one of the cases in which making it a 2-parter really feels necessary.
Yeah.
You know, like, yeah, you wouldn't want to try and fit this all into one. Thank you.
Because you don't have a history with Doctor Who in the same way that I didn't watching this, I wasn't looking for there to be another Time Lord appearing. Mm-hmm. But I also didn't, when this happened, I didn't understand what it meant for it to be the Master.
Okay, yeah, no, me neither.
Okay. So the Master, from what I understand, is one of the Doctor's, like, recurring foes.
Ooh, okay, cool.
So it's a big deal for this Time Lord to be the Master and regenerate into this, like, younger... Well, if he can be younger, so can I.
That was really easy, but that's fine, because he's cute.
You recognize him?
I thought I did, but I couldn't place him. What is he
You
from?
watched Life on Mars, right? Or at least
I watched
the first episode?
Yeah.
He's the lead on Life on Mars.
Okay, that's what it is.
His name is John Sim.
Yeah, because that was the episode that I watched the American version the first time.
Oh, oof.
And then went and watched the British version because I realized my mistake. It was a mixed up day for me, let me tell you. But yeah, I only saw the one episode, so it's not really surprising, I guess, that I couldn't fucking figure it out. Because I kept looking at him and thinking, he looks enough like the scoundrel from Battlestar Galactica, the lawyer, that I kept thinking it was a younger version of him. But no, it's just a slight similarity in their faces.
That is Mark Sheppard.
That's the one.
Who many people will really know from Supernatural.
Oh, is he in Supernatural? Okay.
He is. He plays Crowley, and he's fucking amazing.
They have a character named Crowley in Supernatural.
Crowley's a demon. Yeah.
Is he a demon?
Yes.
Like,
from what I understand, Crowley is a demon in the Bible.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah. That's where, and I mean, Aziraphale too. If you're
Aziraphale, I knew that was, but I didn't think that there were demons that got named specifically in the Bible. That feels really amusing to me for some reason, that they were like name checking demons. I don't know, like angels, I get, but
I'm no expert on the Bible, so I'm sure somebody can correct me. But I'm pretty sure, just based on context clues of there being 2 Crowleys that are demons in 2 different properties that are based on things from the Bible.
Yeah, that makes sense. He would, yeah, he's definitely a demon, so that makes sense. I mean the actor, not, but yeah, he's somebody that for sure is a demon actually in life.
No, he's not. He's very nice.
I'm sure he's very nice. I'm sure demons are delightful. I'm sure I would rather hang out with demons than angels almost every single time. But, that doesn't change the facts. So,
I'm sure that demon's a delight.
I'm sure he knows how to party. So, this episode starts off in Cardiff. It's built on a rift in time and space, which I don't feel like this. Have we heard that specifically before?
Yes, because when the Ninth Doctor and Rose and Mickey go to Cardiff, where they run into the Slitheen woman, where she's like, in government, they're there to refuel from the energy in the rift. And then they realize that, she got out of Downing Street, and now she's over here, like, what is she up to? And then there's that hilarious episode with the Ninth Doctor and her having dinner and her trying to assassinate him and him outsmarting her and whatnot.
Oh, that was such a good little scene. A little poison dart from her fingertip. It's a good trick. I wish I had that one.
So yeah, this has been established. And then the stuff with Jack, he goes into it a little bit in here, that he's been in Cardiff around the rift. Mm-hmm. Kind of waiting to see when the Doctor might return. Yes.
Yeah, but not staying close enough by, apparently.
I mean, what's he going to do? Just sit there all day and just wait?
What else has he got to do? Does he?
I don't know. He's very pansexual. I'm sure he keeps himself busy.
That's probably true. And yeah, this scene, like, they stop to refuel. It's a pit stop, is what Martha says. And he comes running, and the Doctor totally sees him and is just like, bye-bye. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? I really didn't know what to make of the fact that he just decided to leave him anyway. And I was like, I had expressed to you some surprise that he was just left in the first place on the other ship. I was like baffled by that a little bit. Like, just because he's gone, like, usually characters want to get the body of whomever it is that they cared about out of a place to say goodbye. That's not something that I particularly would care about, like, in an emergency situation, I feel like. But it's a trope a lot of the time that I have come to just sort of accept people do care about that sort of thing. So the fact that he was just abandoned, as he puts it, which is accurate, was really confusing. And to see him fucking sprinting all out with his little backpack, and he just, like, the Doctor just looks at him and it's just like, oh shit, this guy, and like can't get out fast enough. The Doctor doesn't want to have to answer those questions of like, hey dude, so why'd you leave me? Yeah.
I can't remember, that was in Parting of the Ways, did he know that Jack was brought back to life? Because Jack was in a different room.
He says that I knew the moment I started running away from you, is like the way he phrases it. So I feel like he knew, and that's why he left Jack there.
Because he says something in this episode about, like, Rose bringing Jack back to life made Jack's death and rebirth a fixed moment in time.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't accept that as a reasonable explanation of why does that mean you had to leave him there?
He's prejudiced.
How so?
I mean, that's the wording that Jack used. Remember, he's like, so you're prejudiced. And he's like, I guess I never thought about it like that. But like, he basically was just like, fixed moment in time, bad, bye. Like, it was just it seems like a really kind of gut reaction that's not actually based on very much in the end. You know what I mean?
Because fixed moment in time, sure. But he could still, like, I don't know. I guess I don't completely understand a fixed moment in time happening in front of you unexpectedly. Whereas something like, say, Mount St. Helens exploding, we know that happened. So anything that happens, if they were there on their travels, they know, like, well, we have to let this happen. This happened. It's a fixed moment. But Jack suddenly becoming a fixed moment still seems weird to me, that you're like, okay, well, I guess I have to leave you here.
Maybe that's what it is that he's a person who has become a fixed moment, and that's just something that doesn't make sense. And the doctor's just like, I can't make heads or tails of this, and I don't like it.
Well, wouldn't also a fixed moment be like, say, Abraham Lincoln being assassinated or JFK being assassinated?
I have no idea. I really don't. Like, what makes a fixed moment is something that feels like it's really subjective.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. That's why I'm like, I don't know if I accept this explanation.
Yeah.
Or if you were just being kind of shitty.
I mean,
because you
tracks
only
much more with my understanding.
Tolerated Jack to start with.
Yeah.
Because also, now here we have the 10th Doctor, who has never interacted with Jack before as the 10th Doctor, only as the 9th Doctor, who's like, oh no, this guy, let's get out of here. It's because he doesn't want to deal with him.
Yeah, definitely.
He don't want to answer questions, but also Jack's a lot.
He is a lot. I love every person he talks to. Don't.
He's like, what? I just said hello.
Mm-hmm.
It's the way you said hello.
You said hello with your dick. We could all feel it. We know what just happened. Don't act like I'm an idiot.
Maybe I'm projecting this onto John Barrowman, but I just feel like that's just the way he is anyway.
Yeah.
I feel like him saying hello to me, I'd be like, hi.
Oh, God. It's like Alec Baldwin's character on 30 Rock. Do you remember that? Do you ever watch that show?
I love that show. I'm trying to think of what you're referring to.
There's a point where he's trying to tell Lemon that he would be able to like influence a woman because he's so attractive, and she like rolls her eyes and is just like, yeah, sure, okay. And he then looks at her and takes a moment and then says, have you done something with your hair? It looks really nice today. That suits you. And all of a sudden she goes, oh, thanks. And it's just like, this is like, he clearly does have this power that she does not know he has because he never uses it on her.
Or like in Friends when Joey first gives the explanation of the how you doing.
Yeah.
And Phoebe's like, oh, please. And he goes, hey, how you doing? And she goes, hey, pretty.
I love those tropes. I really do enjoy them. Anyway, so yeah, this motherfucker just latches on like a fucking lamprey and hangs on for dear life.
Lamprey.
And as they like shoot down a drain and completely like with no regard. At this point, it should have been a clue for his life as they like travel through negative space and time and fucking who knows what. And
the Doctor is he directing the TARDIS to like try to shake Jack off?
It doesn't
keep going.
Feel like that completely. I mean, maybe because let's see, he grabs it. The Doctor takes off like as soon as possible, smiling to himself about how he abandoned an alleged friend, feeling very proud. You jag. And then there's like a crashing sound, and Martha says, "What's that?" And he says, "We're accelerating into the future, the year 1 billion." So it feels like, because of the way this is played, that Jack grabbing onto them is what changed where they were going.
And they end up in the year 100 trillion.
How? What?
That's what my notes say. They're at the end of the universe.
They love going to the end of shit. That's their favorite. But yeah, I kind of feel like Jack grabbing on changed things. Like the TARDIS sensed him and was like, all right, well, we're going to need him for this thing, so I'll go there.
Can't debunk it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like when you weren't intending to go to the UPS office, but then you realize that your Amazon return is like already sitting in the back seat. And you're like, well, all right, I guess I'll just fucking get that over with. Like,
oh, that reminds me, I have stuff to send you.
Yay, presents. I gotta mention Amazon every recording.
No, UPS is what it was.
Oh, right. So they are heading into the end of the universe. It says 5 trillion, 50 trillion, the year 100 trillion. That's impossible. And she says, why? What happens then? But he says we're going to the end of the universe. And I'm like, that's not 100% answering her question. Like, the end of the universe could be an event or it could be a place.
Right.
And it isn't entirely clear to me.
I guess if it were a place, it could be the edge of the universe.
The restaurant at the edge of the universe?
Yes.
Is that what you're thinking of?
Sure.
Was that what you were going to do? Anybody?
Why not?
Hitchhiker's jokes?
Yeah,
Guys,
I get it.
people listening, just want to make sure you missed that one.
It's the second time we've referenced that property in a few episodes.
It must be very surprising to everybody that we would reference such a thing on a show so deeply unrelated. But then we see a bunch of people with fucking
the end of the universe
filed
means
teeth.
time.
Okay. So this is like before actually everything is
Ending.
It's the opposite of the Big Bang, basically.
Yes.
It's the small squeeze.
Why did it make me laugh?
I don't know why I went with the word squeeze. It was just like the closest thing I could think of, and I just really like that alliteration.
Well, that's what it's going to be known by henceforth.
So we see a bunch of people with filed teeth and piercings. It's all very like Mad Maxian, and like
Yeah, not as cool,
with
though.
trolls. You know,
Yeah.
because they're like, oh, do you hear that?
No.
Ice cream truck going by. God damn it. Life isn't fair. I love how I still react as if I'm not an adult who can literally go buy ice cream at any point and get
Natasha,
much better ice cream than from a truck.
We went to the ice cream festival last Saturday.
What?
At our park, every year they have this ice cream festival.
Why don't I have a podcast about like food festivals? I should just fucking do that. What am I doing talking about TV and movies and books when I could just go eat stuff and tell people about it?
Because people don't, well, yeah, if you just tell them about it, people don't like to listen to people eat.
Oh, I'm not going to eat on the air. I'm not a monster. I've done that before, though. I won't lie. It's terrible. It was terrible then. It's terrible now. But what was the ice cream festival like? How could you just say that and then just leave me hanging, Jamie?
Oh, it was really fun. I got these macaroon ice cream sandwiches.
Ooh.
Little French macarons. And we got some Rita's because there was a Rita's truck there.
Of course there was.
You know Rita's.
Rita's needs to stick her nose in every fucking event.
Well, she wasn't there last year, and we were hoping for it, but we did find this other place called Dolphin Water Ice, and they're from Philly.
Hey.
And it was phenomenal, and that is part of the reason that I was like, we got to go back. We have to go to the ice cream festival, and then Dolphin Water Ice wasn't there. But shout outs to Dolphin Water Ice because they're fucking amazing.
Ooh.
And last year we made ourselves sick. We ate too much. So this year we tried to pull it back a little bit. But then I had a root beer float, and on the way home, I was like, yeah, that was one step too far. Too much ice cream. But it's great. I highly recommend it. Come live in Atlanta.
I wish
lots
that
of stuff
we
going
had
on
shit
here.
like that here. There's probably like something like that in Dallas. But
I just
also
don't
like
think Dallas is as big. Like, Dallas is not as big a city. I bet Houston
Is it
maybe has
not?
stuff like that. Or Austin definitely has
how
stuff like that.
how do you quantify the size of a city? The number of people in it?
I think the number of people, how big your downtown is. Like, here we have this giant park. It's like 2 blocks from my house. But it's like, it's not as big as Central Park. But it's like Atlanta's version of Central Park. So there's always shit going on there.
Well, according to Google, which we know is infallible, the population of Atlanta is 486,000 people.
That's not true.
That seems low to me.
Yeah. There's more. No way. There's millions of people that live here.
I feel like that's...
Are they talking about just like... There's got to be more that live just inside the perimeter. There's no way that's true.
How is that saying this? Oh, wait, no. Well, no, yeah, that's what it looks like they're saying. That can't be right.
Hold on.
Okay, Atlanta is the capital and most populous city in the U.S. state of Georgia with an estimated 2018 population of 498,000. It is the 37th most populous city in the United States. Meanwhile, Dallas has 1.3 million people in it. Houston has 2.3.
Is Dallas we're more concentrated and Dallas
No,
more spread
Dallas
out?
is fucking sprawling. Dallas is
Yeah.
huge. It's so annoying, to be honest.
I think of Atlanta as a much bigger city than Dallas because I've been to Dallas. Dallas is spread out, but I didn't feel like it didn't have the feeling of a big city.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't yeah. Well, I'm just about to look for Dallas Ice Cream Festival.
I
See
can't
what
believe the
get.
population of Atlanta is under 1 million. That does not make sense.
Oh, no. Damn, I got all psyched, but then it turns out to just be an ice cream competition at a church. Who cares? Anyway, guys, if you want to invite me... Oh, there's a gelato festival.
It's not quite the same.
Did you guys
Close,
hear
though.
her? Did you hear her voice? What it just did?
Gelato's
I mean,
fine.
if that's all you have. There's a
I'm
chocolate
in
festival
Italy,
on
I'll
September 7th. That's fun.
That's fun.
Anyway, guys, get involved with your local scenes and find some stuff to do. So, these guys are saying humans are coming, and then we see this bitch, like, jump down in front of a guy like she's a fucking hyena and just yell, "Human!" to everybody. And she's got, like, a flail, and she's got, like, flail earrings also, which is pretty rad, honestly. Like, I kind of want flail earrings, actually. But it, like, they're treating this dude who, it's weird, like this, it feels like these are all people who escaped a Mad Max movie into our world. So there are still, like, ordinary people around, but then there's these, like, maniacs who, there may not be, like, more of them than of us, but they're so brutal and terrifying that it doesn't matter. They're still, like, kind of taking over because nobody can stop them. That makes sense?
They're called future kind. I don't know how they evolved to this, like, filed teeth, tattoos on the face, piercings version of humans.
Yeah,
That eat humans.
There's a real, like, weirdness to the idea that this is an evolution when so much of what they look like is manufactured. Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of scarring and piercing and things that are physically done to them.
It feels like a choice.
Yeah.
Like, what are the ones in Game of Thrones? The ones who eat people? The Thens.
Yeah.
Yeah. It feels like the Thens.
Fucking Thens. Yeah, it's just like, they really remind me of 10th Kingdom trolls. For those who have seen that show, which is very terrible, but wonderful also.
Also referenced on the show before.
Yeah, I mean, and Rutger Hauer just died and he was on it. So, poor Rutger Hauer. I loved him. But yeah, so they're like, running after this poor dude. And then we immediately jump into a basically like laboratory. And there's this dude who I've seen in like a million different roles.
It's Derek Jacobi.
Okay.
Yeah, he's been in a million things.
The thing that I know him from is he was on Frasier as...
Was he?
Somebody that they had used to love as an actor. They thought that he was like really good. But then when they got older and saw him perform, they realized that he was in fact terrible, but it was too late because Frasier had literally bought a theater and was having him as like the starring act to open the first night of the theater. And
yeah, isn't that always the fucking way?
Yeah.
Don't meet your heroes.
So that was pretty fun. But he was in Jason and the Argonauts, The King's Speech most recently, according to this, which I did not see.
Did you pull up his IMDb?
No, I did that like X-ray, the Amazon X-ray thing.
Yeah, he did some show with Ian McKellen.
Cadfael? Is that the one?
I don't know. That doesn't sound right. They were like Vicious.
Oh, cool.
That was on BBC or something a few years ago. I believe Ian McKellen was in that. I think he plays a gay gentleman. Yeah, he's been in billions of things. He's in Gladiator.
He's in Gladiator. That's the other thing I know him from. That's right. So yeah, this dude is working on something, but obviously not doing super well. And there is a female like creature. She looks kind of like a cross between a lizard and a bug.
Yeah, he refers to her as a bug later.
Yeah.
Or an insect.
And her name is Chantho.
Yeah.
And she says the word or the syllable Chan and the syllable Tho at the end of every sentence.
Yeah, she starts all of her sentences with Chan and ends them with Tho.
And only does not do that when Martha like asks her to, just to see what would happen.
Because it'd be like swearing. Which
I think is so fun. I really like that moment a whole lot.
Yeah. She like gives that like adorable giggle. Like, I can't believe I did that.
I really enjoy the whole cultural like weirdness of speech patterns that are just like inexplicable to us. You know what I mean? I think that's a fun thing that we don't really see looked at too much because I think a lot of writers consider it to be like distracting, probably, which I understand why they would think that, but also it's just super interesting to me how much is built around language and the way that we decide to talk to each other and how like leaving off a minor syllable suddenly makes you very, very rude. Like,
yeah,
it's just, I think that's really fun. I'm sad that she died. Well, I think she's dead. She gets up and shoots him, but then it seems like she died anyway, right?
Yeah, that was like her last thing. Like, I've got
Final
enough
act
in me to do this, to kill him or to try to kill him.
So yeah, whatever it is that he's working on is not actually panning out, and he seems really ashamed and sad about it. Mm-hmm. And she tells him that he can't give up because he talks about like, oh, look at me, just another dumb human who's dreaming about utopia. And later on, he pulls a disc out of the computer and laughs and says utopia. So is utopia something that he made up and doesn't realize that he made up while he doesn't have his memory?
It's possible.
Because there's like a vibe to that makes me think that like he planted this idea of utopia in his other brain, his chameleon brain, in order to get him to a place that he needed to get him to, so that there was maybe another TARDIS waiting for him there or something. I don't know how many TARDIs are TARDISes.
TARDISes? I don't know, because TARDIS is a acronym, so...
Tardary.
Yeah, like, it's explained that they keep getting this sort of repeated signal of Utopia on this computer. And then later he pulls that disc out, which makes us as the audience assume that means that disc was what was making that repeated signal.
Right.
To make people believe that he was working towards. So what is he actually doing to all these people that he has on this giant rocket that they've now managed to let shoot off into space to go somewhere?
Yeah. Yeah, that feels just not great.
Killing all of the remaining humans in the universe?
Why? Why would you do that? What are you going to do without a universe anyway? What's the big idea here, guy?
Well, I'm sure there are lots of questions, and answers will probably come in the next episode.
Maybe.
Possibly. I can't remember. I rewatched it, but it wasn't yesterday. Like this one I rewatched yesterday. So I don't remember exactly how things pan out as far as explanation goes. But I'm sure that they don't show a disc like that and make it clear, like, oh, so what was his plan with all these people then, without explaining something?
Right.
Even if we don't like the explanation, potentially, as we tend to be like, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, all right. Well, we'll see. But he keeps on having like these weird moments of like almost falling into a fugue state for a second, where there are drum beats. It's like a Jumanji thing, where it's like warning him, hey, this evil thing is about to come at you, and it's you. Only he doesn't know that it's him.
Right.
But it's a long buried game.
Well, it's kind of like when the Doctor used the chameleon thingy, he kept dreaming. And so he would make these drawings in his journal. So he was dreaming about his actual life. Mm-hmm. And with this guy, before we know he's the Master, but now we know he's the Master, it's bleeding through by this constant, nonstop sound of drums, and we don't know what that means yet.
What do you think that if you put your consciousness into a thingy, what would it do to signal to you, hey, I'm over here. Come on, get me back.
There'd probably be flashes of, like, Chris Evans and Ben Barnes. Remember us? Remember how obsessed you were?
Open this to get a look at some sweet, sweet abs. Psych! Oh, there were no abs in there. Just my dumb mind. What a letdown. Where is his arms when he holds on to the helicopter?
Oh, man. God, that's hot.
Oh, God. I don't know what mine would be. It would probably be like fucking ludicrous or something.
Maybe some like 90s hip hop.
You just hear, yeah! Like every now and then, just like way off in the corner in the background, and I'd be like, what? Where?
He lives here.
Like dancing. Why do I keep feeling like dancing?
Ludacris lives here, and I'll hear stories about people like seeing places, and I'm like, why am I not seeing Ludacris?
Oh my God, if you ever meet Ludacris, Jamie, I don't give a shit what I'm doing. I need you to fucking FaceTime me the second that you walk up to him, please. I love him so much.
That's how I felt about Donald Glover. Like, Donald Glover was filming the first season of Atlanta, was doing some filming around my store, but I found out about it the day after, and I was like, what? He was so close.
Yeah.
Still have not run into him.
I would just be like, the minute you put him on the phone, though, he'd be like, why did you do this to me? Because I would just be like, I can sing every song you've ever done. I'm going to do your entire discography now.
It would be so worth it just because of that. Because for you, I don't know you in that capacity to like completely make a fool of yourself because of a celebrity. And I have, for sure, made a fool of myself because of celebrities before. So I would love to see it happen to someone else.
Yeah, I don't like, I've often thought about celebrities that I would like become so tongue-tied or like starstruck around that I would just fuck up. And I can't really think of an actor I'm sure there is one, but I can't think of one off the top of my head. But if I met like Beyonce, you would have to literally kill me after, because there's nothing that I could say that I wouldn't be absolutely humiliated by after thinking about it. I would just, there's nothing to be said.
That's what I always thought. And the people I ended up making a fool of myself in front of were people I never would have expected to like word vomit and be unable to stop myself.
Oh, God.
Bill Paxton.
What?
I can't explain it.
Did you
lost
yell game
my
over
fucking
at him like 4
mind.
times?
I did not. But he was friends with one of the agents that I was working for, and so they brought him into my office to introduce him to me, and I lost my fucking mind. And I couldn't stop talking about Titanic and Big Love. And I asked him for spoilers on Big Love, and I was like, no, don't tell me. I mean, it was word vomiting. And then after he left, the agent was like, that was the funniest thing I've ever seen happen in my life. And I was like, I don't know what just happened. I don't know.
Oh, my God.
I wouldn't have expected it. And then the other one was Elijah Wood. Completely made a fool of myself. And he was so dear about it and was like, Natasha, I looked at him and I said, I'm sorry, I'm really nervous. And he said, don't be nervous. And I said, but you're Frodo. And he was like, I am Frodo. And I was like, I feel a little bit better now because you let me say that. It was so dumb.
Oh, that's precious. I'm sure that Beyonce like deals with some people, like, because she really is the kind of person that if I met her, I'd probably not even talk. I'd just start crying. I'd probably just burst into tears and just be like incoherent. And I would like look back and be like, you know what? That's probably for the best that I didn't say words. My tears spoke for me. That's how completely incapable I was of letting her know what she means to me.
I ran from Robert Downey Jr. I saw him and I ran.
That feels like a good idea, though.
I can't. I've loved him since I was a little kid. And then I was like, no, I can't. I have to go talk to him. And then I got to the door and was like, nope. And just ran back into the back room because he was in the coffee shop I worked at. And I was like, I can't do it. I don't want to bother him and I don't want to make a fool of myself. But yeah, I saw him and literally was like, oh my God, and ran.
And I like totally love the idea of people like being so starstruck by me that they're like, I can't believe you got to meet so-and-so. But the idea of like just trying to go out and live my life and getting stopped every 10 feet.
Yeah.
Oh, the worst.
That's why I didn't want to go bother him.
Yeah.
And as it turns out, he probably would have been super cool about it.
He probably would.
But I just didn't want to bug him. He was just getting a coffee and he was getting in his car and I was like, I can't go out there and bother him.
Was he
and
driving,
I don't regret
or
it.
did he have a driver?
He was in his own car. This was between. It was before Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, so he was still like in the doghouse in Hollywood.
Right.
It was before Kiss Kiss Bang Bang and way before Iron Man. So he hadn't become what he is now. But to me, he's always been what he is now. Like he was one of my first crushes as a kid. So I just was terrified that I would embarrass myself. He's very, very good looking in person, FYI.
I love this whole concept. Listeners, leave comments when I post this about what the like thing would be to get your attention if you had your personality in a little thingy.
Yeah, for me it would definitely be celebrities. I'm bleeding through.
I'm just picturing like very faintly, when I move, you move. Just like, very just like, somewhere way off in the background. And I'm like, what? Did you say something? What? No, I didn't say anything. Yeah, just like little bits like that.
You would think you're schizophrenic for a while. I'm literally hearing voices.
I can hear, he keeps telling me to drop it low. What does that mean? I feel like I want to crouch or something. I just
find this so hilarious because you admittedly are like, I don't care about concerts and like music is whatever. It's just not a focus in your life. Mm-hmm. And yet the thing that would bring you back to who you are if you were chameleon is ludicrous.
Yeah, because, like, you know what it is? I like the act of going dancing. So it's not even like I would want to go to a concert because it's just that one artist. I'll go to a thing where there's a DJ and they're making like crazy mixes and, you know, like even I would, does it count as a concert if it's like Girl Talk where it's like one DJ like performing mixes? Does that count as a concert or a show? I guess that's a show.
I don't know what that is.
You don't know Girl Talk? Oh, Jamie. Okay, never mind.
I mean, I've heard of them.
Him.
But if it's a DJ... Oh, him? Oh, yeah. If it's a DJ, I don't know what that is. It's not a concert.
No.
But it's a live something.
Yeah.
It's a live show?
That's what I'm saying. I feel like it's a show.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a... Girl Talk is like one of my favorites because he mixes a lot of like modern music, especially hip hop, with a lot
Jason
of oldies
has
and classics, and it's like just
Jason
super
went through a
fun.
phase where he was playing Girl Talk a lot.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's what I'm picturing is just like vague, like sort of party sounds, I guess, even more than just specifically ludicrous. There'd just be like bass thumping occasionally. So like kind of like these
terrible.
drums, you know? Oh no, it'd be great. And I would hear people being like, you know, get up on the floor and burr, burr, burr. Yeah, that'd be it. Here we getting all nostalgic. Those are the days. Anyway. Okay, so sorry, guys.
It's a really good question, though. I just really want other people to answer it.
So, okay. He is not succeeding at his thing. We get the landing of the TARDIS, which shows up as like a little square on his sonar and gets their attention. And, of course, when they land, there's this weird noise because Jack is attached to the outside like a remora. And he seems to be dead.
Yep.
But he ain't.
Well, and at first the doctor's like, thinks he's dead. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry. Well, but if he were, I mean, he is dead. He just can't stay dead. But in that moment, oh, I'm so sorry. But dude, you did this.
Yeah.
You knew he was hanging on the outside of the TARDIS, and you went barreling through
Did he,
the
though?
time vortex.
Because I think he knew that Jack was coming. But
Did he not know that Jack was hanging on?
I didn't think so. I thought he was just
Okay.
like, oh, we got to get out of here before he knocks on the door.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't think he expected the guy to just like grab on. You know, like...
Yeah, that's probably
That's
true.
like trying to avoid somebody at work when you're finally leaving at the end of the day and it's a 3-day weekend. And then they're mad when you stop for gas because they've been clinging to your trunk the whole time. No, you wanted to avoid them. You didn't want to almost kill them on the interstate. Like...
I thought you were just going to say, like, when you get in the elevator, you close the door really fast because you don't want to talk to anybody. It's a 3-day weekend. I don't want to talk to you. Just close the door really fast and be like, sorry.
Oh, sorry. Oh, clicking the close button. Oh, it's just, oh, I'm sorry. I can't stop it. Oh, this button, this open button really won't work. So weird.
Sorry, I can't reach it.
But yeah, so, and the doctor, like, when they stop, he says something about how he doesn't know what's out there and we should really, really leave. And he looks super serious, but then he gets this giant smile on his face because he doesn't know where they are and he has not had that happen in a while.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Jack looks dead. Surprise, he's not. The doctor says to him, did you get work done? And he looks sort of unsure of himself for just a split second before he says, you could talk.
Yeah.
Because he, literally has a different face now.
Jack also, like, immediately starts flirting with Martha.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, Oh, it's okay.
She's here for it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, who wouldn't be?
I mean, yeah, he really does know how to, like, turn it on without being creepy, which is just such a gift.
Yeah. Yep.
So there's a weird innocence to it, despite the fact that he's very lecherous also.
I think it's because he flirts with everyone.
Maybe that is what it is.
It's not just directed towards pretty girls. It's directed towards the doctor. It's directed towards Chantho. It's directed towards everyone, everything. There was a dude in the hallway that he's like, hey. Like, he's here for all of it.
But it's not even like, we have that context, but Martha doesn't, and she doesn't seem creeped out.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's more than that.
It's not lecherous. It's literally like just flirty. Like, hey, I'm Jack.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Is that's the innocent part that I have trouble quantifying. He's like, I obviously do want to have sex with you, but I'm not gonna, make a
I'm not gonna whip my dick out or anything. I'm not gonna send you dick pics. But I wouldn't say no if you were up for it.
I wouldn't say no if you sent me one. I'm just saying. So yeah, he tells the doctor, like, good to see you, and the doctor says, and you, and I'm like, you fucking liar. You are lying. What is happening? Because it's really rare to see the doctor lie, I feel like.
Yeah.
Usually when he has a problem with something, he'll just say he has a problem.
I don't know if he's entirely lying. Like, I don't think he's mad to see Jack. I think he's a little surprised because he left him in the future.
Listen, you can't tell somebody it's good to see them after you saw them running towards your vehicle and sped up to get away. Nah.
I didn't see you hanging on my trunk in the rearview mirror. I'm sorry that we went 50 miles.
Oh, God. So he says something about Rose and how he heard that she had died. And the doctor tells him that she is okay. She's in a parallel universe. And he gets very happy and hugs the doctor. And Martha is just standing there like, fucking Rose. Jesus Christ. Can we just drop it already with Rose this, Rose that? That's exactly what she's like.
It's not like the doctor actually talks about Rose all that much.
No. He doesn't. It's just clearly on his mind all the time.
Yeah.
Because he's very transparent, but he doesn't think he is.
But in this situation, Martha, I get her resentment and her jealousy over a girl who's gone. Because who hasn't been there? But this is like a reunion for these two people who also knew this other person. Mm-hmm. And the doctor's just filling Jack in like, oh, no, she's not dead. So I think Martha, I get where she's coming from, and yet she should be a little understanding of like, okay, in this context, it's not as annoying.
I don't think she's not being understanding because she doesn't say this to anybody.
That's true.
She just mumbles it to herself because she's just like, But I think, the real, I think there's something about, and if you have been in this situation, you'll know what I mean. When there's somebody that you're into who is still hung up on someone else, you can tell yourself all kinds of stories about how that person probably wasn't even that great. But then when somebody else comes into the picture and they're like, oh, yeah, her. Oh, she was so funny. And she volunteered at the hospital part-time. And she found a cure for cancer. And you're just like, oh. Like, just somebody else that seems really cool that is confirming all of your worst fears about how well-liked and good this other person was that you've been low-key trying to convince yourself isn't competition.
Yeah.
And realizing that, they have the respect and admiration of plenty of people, and you really can't keep lying to yourself anymore about the fact that they probably weren't that awesome.
Right. And also, how am I supposed to compete with that person?
Right.
How, you're constantly comparing yourself to a person you've never even met. Mm-hmm. And then you have this other person who's like, she's rad. And you're like, great.
Shit.
Now how am I supposed to compare myself to this person?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I get it.
But yeah, they like take a look around and all of the civilizations are gone and even like stars are going out and shit.
Yeah.
There's like nothing around. And there are apparently some beings still left though, which seems to sort of take him by surprise. But they are hunting a person. It gets, they run right by him. Mm-hmm. And it's pretty terrible. Like the whole look of it. Do they eat them? I assume they eat them, and that's what the pointed teeth are meant to be about, right?
Yeah, they're cannibals.
Yeah.
They say something about hunting that implies that yes, this is what they eat.
Okay. So yeah, the doctor rushes down there to assist this dude. Which, you know, honestly, if you're in a hunt for humans, I feel like humans should probably not try and like rush into that thing, but because they don't really have a means of defending themselves, should they be the ones that become the prey all of a sudden? They
also don't know yet that this person is being chased by somebody who wants to eat him.
Yeah, I guess that's true. They don't even know that the fact that he's a human is like what is making them chase him, because they look like humans from far away. They look like humans, just period, but just like modded humans.
Yes.
So this dude tells him, well, if we go to the silo, we'll be safe. We're really close. And they take off running and finally get inside. They pass like all of these sort of weird, like what look like sculptural installations along the way on inside, which I guess are supposed to be like maybe antennae or something. But all
I can think is because they turn off later, and that's how these like cannibals are able to get inside. Mm-hmm. So they must be some sort of energy field that keeps things out, because otherwise they are protecting themselves by a chain link fence that they have tied up with just a chain.
Yeah, that's true.
And a lock.
And a bunch of dudes with machine guns. Don't forget the dudes with machine guns.
Sure, but the future kind don't go in until those things turn off. Because otherwise, like, what would stop them from just finding a way to pull down the fence?
Yeah, that's true. Maybe the fence is electrocuted when they, like, back away from it. They, like, re-electrify it.
Maybe.
I don't think so, though, but, yeah. These outfits they're wearing, they're really something. So yeah, they go and they have to like prove that they are humans by showing their teeth at the door. Mm-hmm. And they get let inside after somebody mentions Utopia. And are introduced to the professor. And he is very excited to hear that a scientist is here, because he is hoping that this person is going to be familiar with the technology that he's working with and be able to get this thing to work that he has been messing around with for a little bit. Do we really get a time frame on how long this has been that he's here?
No, not really. But Chantho has been his assistant for like 17 years. So
wow.
Maybe that long.
So are we meant to believe that she knows that he's a Time Lord this whole time?
She doesn't.
She doesn't know that. But she does seem to be like really leery when he pulls out the pocket watch, though.
Well, he's never paid any attention to it.
So the fact that he is, that's the only thing that's like making her anxious. It's not that she knows what it's about.
Yeah, like suddenly he's acting really weird. And he acts weird otherwise because he keeps hearing these voices and what have you. But when Martha starts talking about the watch, and like it's like his whole demeanor then changes, and then when he opens it, it turns him into something else. I don't think she had any idea that he wasn't a human, though.
Okay.
I think she's just concerned because he's not behaving the same way that he always has.
Yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, initially the doctor does not know about this technology. Like, it seems like he is not going to be able to help necessarily right away.
Yeah.
But he's able to figure it out real quick. The doctor's a Mary Sue. Let's just say it. It's fine. And it's just like, well, what if you just reverse this one thing?
Right.
Doctors hate this one trick.
That always seems to be his sort of response or his answer to it. Well, we'll just reverse the polarity, or we'll...
That is true, isn't it?
I'll, use my sonic screwdriver against this one thing this one time, and suddenly everything works.
I love that. Have you thought about reversing the polarity? And we'll just put a big TARDIS in the background. And that'll be the next postcard.
Okay. Yes, it should. Don't skip over the fact that in Jack's backpack is the doctor's hand.
That's right.
That he lost while he was still regenerating.
He calls it a doctor detector.
Yeah.
I don't know how it works exactly, but apparently
maybe it flips him off when the doctor shows up.
Oh my god. That'd be pretty amazing.
But it'll be the British version, so it looks like a peace sign to us.
Oh, that's right. I forgot that's a thing. That was in Orphan Black. I was like, she was supposed to be the goddess of war, and she makes the peace sign. And I was like so confused. And then it turns out that that's like a whole other thing in
Spike
the UK.
does it on Buffy, too.
Ah, right. Bless him. And also there's a dude that like Jack runs into in the hallway that's like, hey, what's your name? Like, just, he can't, not even for a second.
Nope, can't help himself.
And they run by a woman who, if you can't tell just by looking at this bitch that she has some giant ass teeth in her mouth, I don't know what to tell you. Because it looks like she's wearing a fucking field hockey mouth guard. It's serious. And I have run into people who just look like that and they don't have giant teeth. But they need to be a little bit more careful on checking people, I think. How is it that she was supposed to have gotten in?
That was my question. I have no idea how she managed to sneak in.
Yeah. I feel like if they check at the door, I mean, it's not like they have such a huge population in here that they would cut corners on something like that. But evidently, and I really hate her. Like, there's a lot of low-key villains and bad people in this show all the time. But there is something about her in particular that I just really, like, every time her face showed up and I knew she was about to get up to some bullshit, I just got very angry and was like, somebody needs to take this bitch out, please. Stop her. It's weird how certain villains can get to you a little bit more than others.
Yeah.
I hated her much more than the Master. Just because, Well,
you don't have any reason to hate the Master yet.
Well, he's a dick.
Yeah.
Huge dick. But yeah, he starts to get triggered as they're talking about like regeneration and, time travel and all of that. He starts to like remember something. And it's not even like he recognizes it as a memory. It's just, it sort of echoes in his mind, these words that are somehow like hitting him for some reason. My assistant and good friend Chantho, survivor of the Malmuth, this was their planet before we took refuge. Which, she says that the conglomeration died. And the doctor is all distracted by the fact that he was right about using the word conglomeration. Which, listen, doctor, it's being right is nothing to gloat about. There's no reason for you to behave so shamelessly.
Oh.
Just because you got something right one time. Listen, just let it go. Nobody wants to hear it. It's just embarrassing. And, just saying.
Who among us, though?
Who among us should cast the first stone? Indeed, that is a good question, Jamie.
I never gloat when I'm right.
Oh, and did I tell you about the root beer thing? The root beer float?
I thought of that when I ordered a root beer float.
Guys.
But the ice cream that they were churning right there.
Oh, that sounds amazing. Guys, Owen, he wanted me to get a certain brand of ice cream for his root beer float, and I told him not to because that brand is really bad. But it was one he grew up with and he really wanted. And I had just gotten him a different brand previous. And he finally was like, but get me the one I want this time. And I was like, okay, it's really bad, but sure. And I got it for him, and he couldn't even finish his float. And he was like, you were right. This is really bad. And I have not let him forget it. Not for a moment since it happened. And he is just like, you are so smug. And I'm like, yes, correct. I don't really know what else you want me to say. You are not wrong. The end.
You are not wrong, but I am definitely right.
I am certainly correct and always am, have been, and will be. Welcome to marrying me. I hope you enjoy. So yeah, this dude's talking about the Science Foundation created the Utopia project thousands of years ago to preserve mankind, to find a way of surviving beyond the collapse of reality itself. Now, perhaps they found it. And he's like, they might not have, but what else are we going to do? May as well go over there. So the way that he reacts every time he's sort of triggered is straight up the expression I get on my face when I get a migraine starting.
Maybe that's what he has.
Maybe that's kind of what it feels like. But it's just like he looks up at the ceiling and his mouth sort of half opens and his brow furrows. And you can see him kind of clench his teeth after a second and have to take a deep breath. And it just almost hurt me to watch because it just looks like getting a migraine. And when I get migraines, guys, I am laid out. There is no functioning for me for the foreseeable future. So watching somebody have a reaction that reminds me of that is almost physically painful. I just feel it,
Yeah.
So, and the doctor mentions to him oh, so you definitely can't get this thing to work, but you haven't told anybody, huh? And he's like, well, I want them to live in hope. And he's like, well, yes, and that's very right. But also, let me fix this thing for you just really easily right now, immediately. Yeah. So, yeah, that works. Everybody is very excited. And as the doctor continues to work on it with him, he is just like, this technology that you're using is stunning, actually. You are exceptional. I can't believe that you figured out how to do some of this.
He made wires out of gluten.
Yeah. Guys.
So out of bread. Bread wires.
Out of proteins. Gluten is one of those words that when I stop and think about it, really should be considered an onomatopoeia. Because it's glue-ish and it's just gloopy, the texture, everything about it. I feel like it's such a perfect word for what it is.
Yeah.
Gluten.
Stretchy.
Yeah. So at this point, this is when there's that breach, right? Because all these people are starting to get onto the rocket already. Because it's immediately, as soon as it's ready, people are loading up onto this thing. And I mean, there's a lot of them. You see all of these walkways that they're crossing over on. And it looks like hundreds of people. I don't know how many it's supposed to be, if they ever really say.
It's a giant rocket.
That's so crazy.
It's like in Star Wars, in A New Hope, where they're in the Death Star, where they rescue Leia, and they swing across, or maybe in Empire when Luke and Darth Vader are fighting, and he starts to fall down that abyss.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? It's like an endless sort of round room.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what it reminded me of. What, with a rocket in the middle of it.
Yeah, I could see that. Except it's got railings. For some reason in Star Wars, they fucking hate railings.
Yeah, that's why Luke and Leia had to swing across like fucking Tarzan.
It's so terrifying. Ugh. I hate it. And that theme just continues in the new movies as well. Get some fucking railings and maybe we wouldn't have experienced the horror
Build
and
some
heartbreak
floors
that we did.
for
I'm just
crying
saying.
out loud.
Yeah, right? So these people are all boarding, and there's this one guy who has to, like, bring a reactor or something. I'm not even sure what was going on.
They have to get this reactor online, basically, so they have to, like, align it's the couplings is what he calls them. It's like got to get them basically turned on, but you have to do it manually.
Okay.
Which seems inefficient, but it gives us a reason to have Jack go in there and save the day because he can't die.
Right. Yeah, because the woman who's planted inside this facility starts to fuck shit up while the original dude is in there and just makes it so that it's, like, deadly for any human being.
Because even in the suit, even in, like, the anti-radiation suit, the radiation gets so high that he just, like, dematerializes.
It's so crazy.
But the suit doesn't.
Guys, look what I've done to Jamie. Look what I've done to her. I've made you a pedant. I love it.
It's not really a quibble. I don't really care. But he disappears and his suit just falls to the floor. It's like, okay, well, I guess the anti-radiation of that worked.
I was about to say, yeah, it's the suit can protect itself. It can't protect anybody inside it. But, you know.
It's not a great suit.
So, yeah, Jack goes in there because there's another thing that happens where he, like, lives again. And
he gets electrocuted.
That's right. Because the doctor's like, yeah, I think I have the perfect guy for this. He starts to strip down, and the doctor's like, that's not necessary. And he's like, isn't it? Basically.
I was actually a little disappointed that the shirt stayed on.
I really like those suspenders, so personally I'm for that.
Same. I was fine with that. He still looks great.
What is it about suspenders?
I don't know.
I think it's that they accentuate the shoulders or something.
Not everybody can pull it off.
It's true. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like if you've got too much of a gut, it just serves as like a picture frame for your gut. So it doesn't always really like work. But if you've got nice shoulders, even if you do have a bit of a gut, it can still look good.
I was watching Parks and Rec today, and it's the one where they go hunting. And when they first get there, they're like pantsing each other, all the dudes.
Oh my God.
And Leslie's like, that's why I have suspenders holding my bra to my pants.
She thinks ahead. She's like me that way.
I just was like picturing it. Like, that's funny. What does that look like? It just seems like this like elastic strap clipped onto your bra and then like your pants. Okay. Leslie, it's best. Did I break you? What happened?
You just like, you really went on a stream of consciousness there for a second. You shared the thing and then you were like, and I just really thought it sounded funny.
I did. I was like picturing it in my head. It was a funny image.
I'm not contradicting that you thought that. I'm laughing at the way you told the story that wasn't a story.
It's what I do.
Oh, God. Oh, and this is, he says, I look good, though, and he starts to run in, and he stops, and he says, how long have you known? And the doctor, this is when he says, ever since I ran away from you. So that is why he left him, I'm pretty sure. Purposefully.
Because he can't die?
Yeah, I think so.
I still don't understand why. Like, why?
I don't know. Just because he's an anomaly? Because he's a freak?
Seems like that would be the kind of thing that the Doctor would be more interested in. What? Why can't you die?
Almost like maybe they retconned that whole thing. Weird.
Maybe.
They were like, we want to bring him back. We'll figure it out. Who knows?
I mean, we knew he lived.
Yeah, we knew he lived, but I think that maybe the writers recognized even that the Doctor just leaving him there, even if they thought he was dead, was sort of a weird move. And they were like, well, if we bring him back, we're going to have to address that. So we'll make it so that he was like, a threat or something. But yeah, in this scene, as he's doing this, he's explaining what happened and all of these different things that should have killed him that never did. And the Doctor asks him if he wants to die. And he sort of doesn't answer. And then finally he's like, I kind of thought I did for a little while. But then I watched people like this who are just really trying to survive and get by. And I realized that no, actually, I don't.
And he does talk about how he used his little vortex, his time vortex, whatever, what does he call it? His little thing on his wrist that lets him time jump.
I don't remember what he calls it, but yeah.
I don't remember what he calls it, but he said it, he thought, for the 20th century, but he ended up in 1892, so he had to just sort of live through all of that. Mm-hmm. And he went to World War I and World War II. He was poisoned, he starved, he died from a stray javelin.
I love that one.
How did that happen? What were you doing that a stray javelin got you?
I mean, you know how javelins are.
Isn't it just a spear?
Yeah.
Was he at the Olympics?
How amazing would that have been? Yeah, it was a casualty at a highly televised event. It was 1960. Actually, it wasn't as far back as you'd think, considering it was a javelin. She couldn't control it, and she brought you back forever. That's something, I suppose. And as he's saying this, the professor is crying and seeming to realize that there is something going on with him.
Yeah, because he's hearing words like TARDIS and Time War.
Yep. And he's hearing words like, open me and release me, you human filth, or something. Whatever it is that his other self is saying. His other self is such a douchebag. Honestly, the fact that that's what he hears is himself berating himself is really telling in its way,
do you actually want to know the answers to these questions that are coming up now, Professor?
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like you were a great guy.
I mean, it's like the Doctor had this same sort of crisis where people were telling him about himself, and he was like, yeah, I sound not awesome. Mm-hmm. Why do I want to come back again? Are you serious? And this guy has more reason than anybody to kind of just be like, you know what? I'm going to leave that. And we can just put it somewhere or leave it here on this planet. And we'll pretend that this is just who I am and that we're all fine with it. But no, he opens it up as they are getting everything set with this rocket finally. And it looks like it's all working and set to take off. And then this motherfucker comes back into himself and decides that he's going to sabotage everything for some reason. I don't understand what's happening there. I don't think that I am meant to. But when he opens it, the Doctor has just been told by Rose, or by, you hear me? Ooh, she'd be so mad. Sorry, Martha. My bad. Has just been told by Martha that this dude has an exact same watch fob. I was about to say a key fob, Like he has an automatic starter for the TARDIS or something. And the Doctor, I don't know does he know exactly which Time Lord this is? He doesn't. Okay.
No, not at this point. He's like, no, that's impossible.
Okay.
And Jack says that you may not be the last Time Lord. And Martha thinks like this should be really good news for you because you thought you were all by yourself. And the Doctor's like, no, like he's just accepted that he's the last one. And I think he just doesn't want to, he doesn't want to hope.
Agreed. Yeah, so the Doctor like realizes that something is about to happen, and he starts to rush to the door to go back to like the main area, and it gets closed on them all. And the professor shuts down all of the security protocols outside so that the what are they called? Future kind can get in. Meanwhile, poor Chantho is out here with a gun being like, I have to stop you. Like, it's my responsibility. And he is really delighted that she's going to be the aggressor so that he has an excuse to fuck her up.
Now I was provoked.
Yeah. He's got this, like, sparking cable, basically. Like, he's going to electrocute her, which doesn't feel like the most efficient thing. But it almost gets her. Like, she winds up being able to pull herself back up and get him that one time. But it is not enough, as it turns out. And he just goes on and on about how much of a torment it was to work with her this whole time. And she had been talking to Martha earlier about how she's like basically in love with him, and he doesn't even look at her. And so in particular, this is so hurtful because it's not just a colleague that you didn't realize hated you the whole time. It's somebody that you were like in love with and knew that they didn't see you that way, but you just kind of come to terms with that. And then they say the most hurtful shit in the entire world.
Yeah.
And that is really rough. There's nothing quite, it's like, you know, Ross writing that list of things he doesn't like about Rachel that she finds. So he goes and grabs or he like sits and looks at the Doctor's hand. And I thought he was going to like take it and use it for something. I thought that he was going to do some voodoo and basically like hurt the Doctor via some sort of like DNA connection from the hand. You know what I mean?
Well, you don't know that he's not.
That's true. That's true. And this is when he pulls out the disc and says something about Utopia with a sort of scoff. And he's getting into the TARDIS and Chantho shoots him. But he manages to pull himself inside anyway and transforms into a younger, hotter version of himself. Just as energetic as David Tennant, for the record. Yes. He is really hopping and prancing around a minute there. And all of the future kind are trying to storm the place, and Jack and Martha have the door, like they're trying to close it again, but they're like, there's nothing electric functioning to sort of lock it, I think, is the problem, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah,
sure.
Whatever. So this dude is very excited that he got his younger body back, which, like, you would be. I would be, too. And yells to the Doctor about how, you know what my name is, so why don't you use it? Why don't you say? And I don't know how the Doctor knows because of this.
Knows.
He just senses it.
I think he just knows by what the Master is saying. Gotcha.
Yeah, because he says at first, just think. And he says, use my name. And he says, Master. And I'm like, so do they all just have like titles as names? He's Doctor. That guy's Master. Is there like, you know, Duke? Or, I mean, he was Professor, but are there other professors?
But he was called Professor Yana, so he had a name.
That's true. But can there be a professor, though?
There could. Probably.
Trying to think of what some other titles might be. Your Honor.
Majesty.
I'm the doctor. This is the master. And that is the Your Honor.
Well, maybe we'll learn more about Gallifrey.
But yeah, they're in the middle of like trying to hold these motherfuckers back when the TARDIS is stolen out from under them. And the doctor just has to watch it go because apparently there's nothing he could do. And then we go to the to be continued, and I have to rush to turn it off so that I don't get spoiled because Amazon just wants me to know.
This one actually didn't show any scenes.
Oh, for once.
Yeah.
Well, that's nice.
My favorite part of John Sims' little scenery chewing entrance here is when the doctor says, "Master, I'm sorry." And he like pauses and he just goes, "Tough!"
I forgot about that moment.
And I'm realizing through watching this and my love of Michael Sheen that this form of frenetic acting, the scenery chewing, like campy, I love it. And I think when I originally watched this, and until very recently, I think I just didn't appreciate that form of acting. I just found it to be too much. And now I'm like, no, this guy is really enjoying the shit out of himself, and it makes me love it so much. So that tough was like, that's perfect. What a dumb thing to yell, and yet so good.
Yeah, there's there are definitely moments where I feel like not just this show, but other shows also that are like of a similar tone that can be very campy, where actors seem to really think they're in something else and take it super seriously.
Yeah.
And I'm like, y'all need to just get on the page of what the tone of this show is and just fucking go for it. Like,
yeah.
What are you doing, you know?
Yep.
But yeah, so that's the end of the episode. So I guess we'll find out whether or not the master runs away with the TARDIS forever and starts some sort of utopia where he is the ruler and there are no other people ever again. Sounds pretty good.
Maybe the show stops being Doctor Who and just becomes Master Who.
I hate it.
It can't be stopped.
Okay.
Can you imagine? Like, that kind of thing would never happen with a show like this. But it would happen with, like, modern shows, like, more serious shows where they'll just take a turn and suddenly it's, like, completely different.
Like what?
I can't think of anything. Well, like, Game of Thrones kind of did that a little bit where, like, everybody thought that Ned Stark was a hero and then he dies.
I guess.
And then you have, like, a whole new sort of, not new, but I can't think of anything right now where it just sort of shifts and, like, suddenly who was the main focus is gone and there's a whole new main person. Maybe it mostly happens with villains. I didn't think this out clearly, but...
Well, now that I've gone and tried to prove my point, I guess I don't have one. My bad.
Yeah, pretty much.
I've been there before.
I really thought I had an example, and when I really started thinking about it, I was like, well, no, that doesn't actually fit. So,
boo.
Never mind. I don't have any trivia or new reviews.
Oh, there's no new reviews.
Nope.
Wow, that's so hurtful. What a shame. I really thought that people liked us and were listening. But now I'm heartbroken, and I suppose I will have to cancel the show forever.
Oh, my God. There's already people like, ah!
Can you imagine if I did that? If I was genuinely like, well, if we don't get some reviews over the next 5 days, I'm just going to stop podcasting. So, figure it out, guys. All right. Well, I'll say hi to new patrons real quick. We have Sophia Chucha, David Kehoe. You've been around a million years. Get out of here, David. What are you doing on this list?
Did he just up his pledge or something?
Yeah, he must have changed it. Yeah. Lindsay Carlson, Emily Everett, Tegan Dwyer, and Pat. Nope. He's also been around a minute. So, yeah, those guys. Welcome to all of you.
Hello.
We are about next week to record the final episode of Twilight New Moon.
Wow.
And then we are going to be doing the movie a couple weeks after that because I have LeakyCon in 2 weeks. So, or not 2 weeks. I keep saying 2 weeks because it feels like it's like still 2 weeks away. It's next week. So there will not be a Doctor Who episode next week.
Oh.
Just
Good
FYI.
to know.
Yeah, so y'all are going to have to wait for the wrap up on this, and my apologies for that. But LeakyCon is, it's going to be an event, and I'm also going to have the John Wick Marathon with Rashawn. So hopefully there's going to be stuff that will tide you all over and make you feel like I'm not ripping you off terribly.
I don't think people think that.
Well, people can be assholes. Who knows? But yeah, hopefully, guys, you can tune in for the live watch of the John Wick films, which will be starting at 12:15 on, by the time this comes out, it will be the following week. So August 12th, which is a Monday. And then Rashawn and I are going to do a live podcast talking about them. And that will be at 8 p.m. that night. So, we're doing this as a fundraiser for a charity. The bigger umbrella charity is Lawyers for Good Government, and they have a project within that called Project Corazon, which is a fund for lawyers to come to the border and represent detained immigrants. And it's meant to help people who really want to assist with their lawyerly skills, but do not have the money to make it and pay for the hotel stay and all of that stuff. So I think it's a really worthy cause and something that's like got a very quantifiable effect and thus feels sort of satisfying. And I just really am horrified by what's happening and wanted to do something.
And where do people pledge or donate?
I am going to include the link. The event on Facebook also has a link in it. If you find that, it's facebook.com/unspoiledpod/events. But I'm trying to find the exact spot here. mightycause.com/event/3LL63F, which is very catchy. And hopefully everybody will remember. But yeah, I'll share the link in here if you guys are interested in donating. I'm also, of course, going to share it like throughout the day that day. So if you follow us on Facebook or on Twitter, you'll see it. And the goal is to raise like $2,000. I have not even started yet, and I have raised $100. So that's cool. But yeah, I just, you feel helpless sometimes.
Yeah.
And honestly, the only thing that we can do in situations like this is often provide financial support, because that's almost always what gets in the way, is not having enough money to help people out. And I know a lot of folks are like sending donations of like diapers and supplies. The issue is not that the detaining organization doesn't have the money, guys. Yeah. So your supplies are meaningless because they can provide that stuff if they want.
They just don't care.
The point is to not provide things. That's the point.
Yeah.
So if you guys are interested in helping me get to this goal, I think it will be something that at least, comforts us and lets us know that we can help a couple of people, $2,000 will hopefully be enough to get somebody to come down for a couple weeks and do some good. Somebody who has qualifications that I do not have. My one qualification that I will have to cash in on at some point, I'm sure, in the coming revolution, is that I don't have kids and work for myself and thus can get arrested and it will not ruin my life. So, look forward to that because you'll all be getting a notification that the podcast is on pause because I've been arrested.
Look, everybody has already said that we've got your bail, so.
It's true. Everybody was very supportive. A couple people were like, I would up my pledge if you got arrested because that's badass. And I'm like, is it? I feel like it sounds badass.
Well, I've been saying for a while that it's going to take riots and revolution.
Yep.
There's nothing that's going to stop this until we rise up and stop it.
Yeah, a lot of people are like, well, we can just vote out the pit. Guys, sorry,
No,
this stuff
that
doesn't
doesn't
stop
work.
because we vote. It just doesn't. Like,
Nope.
it's gone too far.
Yeah.
We can pretend
Now it's time
that we
to
have
fight.
civility remaining on our side,
Yeah.
but they don't, so it has no effect.
Right, and our civility has gotten us nowhere.
Yep.
It's gotten us in this situation where we're, the people that we would hope would be fighting for us are just too fucking weak to do it. Mm-hmm. They don't want to ruffle feathers. They want to stay in the middle, and there's no middle here. Mm-hmm. There's right and wrong. Mm-hmm. There's concentration camps or not concentration camps. So fight however you can.
So,
and it might mean that a lot of us get arrested. It's fine. I don't have kids either.
Right, like I really do try and think of it as like, what do I have to give? And I don't have tons of money, and I don't have even tons of time, but I do have some freedoms that other people don't have because of not having obligations and responsibilities like that. And I am going to do what I can. So, I'm just over here forming a militia.
I admire it. I support you, and
Thank you.
I can support that financially. I can give more than I would have been able to a year ago. So
Yay.
That's what I do. That's where I've been able to share my part is, well, I'm going to give money when I can, where I can to things that help. And at least I know, I'm not just sitting back and being a good German and not doing anything.
Yep. Yeah, so if anybody's interested in assisting me with forming the unspoiled militia, let me know, because I'll definitely need some training, some weapons training, some recon training, and probably have to find a compound somewhere. Figure.
Well, you live in Texas, there's all that open space.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be difficult to put something together. It should be fine. So yeah, guys, help me out. But for now, just as fundraiser is the thing we'll start with. So
We start small.
yeah. All right, guys. Well, thank you all so much for listening, and we will see you in 2 weeks with a new episode. Toodaloo, motherfuckers.
Bye.
That was an Unspoiled Network podcast.